Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first class of this advanced English course and the last module of this English course. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening, Joanne. Okay, hi, Joangel, Angelina, Saoni, Nidia, and Joanne again. Okay, guys, so tonight we're starting the last module of this course. So this is going to be a short module when you compare it to the others two, because this module only has 200 hours instead of 300 as the basic English course has, or 400 hours as the intermediate English course has. So for this new module, we're going to do things differently. We're going to change not all, but some things. So let me share my screen right away because esto es friendo y comiendo. We don't have that in English. Sorry, that expression does not exist in English. Tenemos esa expresión en inglés. Okay, so first things first. So because we finished with all the verbs that we were going to study. Now we're going to work with the idiomatic expressions. Okay, idiomatic expressions. So here we have a small PDF with 30 idiomatic expressions. And we're going to work with these idiomatic expressions in three parts. We're going to divide each part in 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10, because Situaciones Cotidianas y Bienestar is the title. Okay, so we're going to work with this in three parts. So we are going to study this in 3 weeks. 10 idiomatic expressions for each of those weeks. So why are we using these idiomatic expressions? Why this topic? What is the importance of this? Well, in English, we have a lot of idiomatic expressions. Okay? Americans use a lot of these expressions, and they are pretty useful because they help us say things that we might not know how to say it with our own words, but the expression help us say it. Okay, so they simplified whole sentences into one little expression that says a lot. So that's the reason why we should learn it. We have here the first 10. We have under the weather. Here we have the meaning in Spanish. Piece of cake, which is a idiomatic expression that I use a lot. Break the ice. Once in a blue moon. Hit the sack or hit the hay. Hit the sack is more common. On cloud 9. Pull someone's leg. Spill the beans. The best of both worlds. And as right as rain. Okay, so you are going to study these 10 idiomatic expressions, and we're going to have, like, you remember the evaluation that we used for the verbs? So we're going to have a similar evaluation for these idiomatic expressions. So these evaluations are going to be divided in two. The first part is going to be about the meaning of those idiomatic expressions. So I'm going to be asking only what is the meaning of the best of both worlds in Spanish. Well, you will choose the one that you think fits best. After that, the other part of the practice, you're going to have like sentences, right? And you're going to have three or four idiomatic expressions, and you have to choose which idiomatic expression fits best that sentence. So with that second part of the exercise, you will be able to use the idiomatic expression in context. Okay? Because remember, the easy part is to memorize the expression. The hard part is to use them in a conversation. So with that sentences that you're going to have in that second part of the practice, you're going to learn how to use them correctly. So we're going to have three practices about that, and all of them are going to share the same dynamic in Spanish and in English. The meaning in Spanish and the use of that expression in English. So with that, you will have the necessary tools to use it when you have to use it in a given conversation. After we finish with the idiomatic expressions, we're going to jump to another topic. We're going to continue with another topic, in this case, the phrasal verbs. I have a short list of phrasal verbs that we're going to study as well. Okay, so that's the first point. I will share the PDF. I won't share it through the WhatsApp group. I'm going to upload the PDF on the platform. So when you log in on the platform, you will see it. Okay, in the advanced English course, you will see idiomatic expressions, the PDF, so you can download it into your iPhone or Android or computer. Okay, whichever you have. Okay, so what else is going to be different? Okay, so here we have, where is it? No, it's not this one. Okay, so from now on, in every class, we're going to have a reflection where we will have like a small phrase from someone, and we're going to reflect on that phrase. So what that means is, for example, here we have a different language is a different vision of life. So I will ask, what do you think about that? But this is not optional. Okay, this is not optional. All of you have to say what you think about that. If you want to say, I have nothing to say about that, you will say that. But you have to say something. So in every class, I will bring a new phrase or an idea to break the ice. We're going to use it to break the ice because it's going to be at the beginning of every class. And the idea is that all of you, every one of you connected at the moment, are going to give your idea. What do you think about that? Again, if you don't want to say anything, if you don't want to add, if you don't want to comment, you have to say that. I have nothing to say about that, but you have to say something. Of course, the idea is that you want to say something, because one of the things that we're going to stress during this last module is your speaking ability. You have been doing well with the reading exercises, with the listening exercises, more or less, and with the grammar exercises. You have been doing great. But now we need to work, we need to improve those speaking abilities and those listening abilities, because this is the last module and we need to work on that. So this module is a lot about speaking. So it will require that you put your mind into this every night that we meet during this virtual class. I need you here and focus because you will have to answer and participate in some dynamic. Um, okay, is that clear so far? So far, so good. Are we clear on that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So besides that, besides the phrase, we will talk about this phrase in a moment. We're going to change two things, and we are going to add one thing. So from now on, during the virtual class, we won't read, we won't read, we will not read articles, and we will not answer listenings. Because from now on, in every practice that I upload into the platform, you will have a reading exercise with questions and a listening exercise with questions. So now, the practice that you normally take that only has grammar now has grammar, choose the correct answer, true and false, match, but also has a reading exercise with questions that you have to answer based on that text, and you will have a listening. But this listening is going to be different from the listenings that you are used to listen here, because you're used to listen here, um, very well structured listenings in a controlled environment with people that speak really, really slow. But now, the listenings that you are going to have in your practices are going to be from the real world. Okay, are going to be from the real world. So you're going to hear things you don't know. That's on purpose. You're going to hear people that speak really fast. That's also on purpose. So everything that you find in that listening, it was on purpose. Because the idea is that you get used to the real world. Okay, when you hear me, this is not the real world because I try to speak as clear as possible. But in the real world, people don't speak like that. They speak really fast, they use a lot of contractions, and they don't care if you get it or not. They're speaking. You are the one who needs to be, you're the one who needs the ability, you're the ones who needs to do your homework if you want to understand what I'm saying. So that's the idea. This is going to be to push you a little bit. I am planning something with that audio because I know what you might do, maybe, but we will see. I won't get ahead of myself now. I will give you time and you will prove me wrong. Later, I will tell you what I'm thinking now. Okay, so we won't have readings or listenings during the virtual class because those things are going to be on your practice. Well, in this case, in your practice. The second thing, and this is the new element, every Thursday, after we review all the exercises, we're going to have besides the phrase and the reflections, we're going to have a speaking practice. But this speaking practice is between yourselves. So, for example, I'm going to give you 4 questions, and you have to answer those 4 questions here. Okay? For example, the best day of your life. What is Saoni's best day of her life? Well, it was when. So, Saoni is going to answer 4 questions about that best day of her life. And after she finishes talking about that, Saoni, not me, Saoni is going to choose another student to tell his or her experience about that best day of her life. So Saoni, when Saoni finishes, she's going to say, now is the turn of Joanni. Joanni, now I want to hear the best day of your life. And when Joanni finishes, she's going to do the same thing and she's going to choose another student. So all the choosing is going to be between you guys. I will be here listening and asking some questions, making some suggestions, but now is the time to put everything you have learned so far into practice. Is that clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, I hope that you like this change. This change is for you guys to help you to the best of my abilities before this ends. Okay, so with that being said, let's begin because tonight we have two topics and your first assignment. So before we begin, let's talk about this phrase. Federico Fellini said, "A different language is a different vision of life." Right? A different language is a different vision of life. So I want you to look at that expression, at that phrase for a moment. Let it sink in. Let that phrase sink in. And in 1 minute, I'm going to ask all of you, what do you think about that? What's your opinion about that phrase? Okay? So I'm going to give you 1 minute. Starting now. Thirty more seconds. Okay, we're done. So let's start with, okay, Joanny Hill is going to be the first one. Go ahead, Joanny. What is your take about this?
Thank you, teacher. It's very true. I agree with these phrases. I think, in my opinion, a different language can open doors to your life that you even don't know that it was closed.
Wow, that's deep.
It's a different language help you to make friends, to get jobs, to is another level in your life. So I think is really, really true.
Okay, well done. Well done. Okay, let's continue with Joangel Gomez. Go ahead, Joangel.
Yes, I think yes, because, for example, in my life, the studying English changed my position in my work because I applied for the new job in the air traffic control. So I am take the how can you say curso, teacher?
Course.
Course exactly right now. I have the 6 month maybe for the course for finish this, and the English is the more very important in this case. So the when you speak other language, you change your environment.
Yes, your life changes. Okay, thank you for your input. Let's continue. Who else? You can raise your hand, but I will call you out. I mean, I will name you. Tell me, Angela. Remember, all of you have to say something. Tell me, Angela. Angela, I can't hear you, Angela.
All right.
Okay.
Let me.
Now I can. Now I can. Now I hear you.
All right. The sentence, the different language can change your life. Yeah, I think that is true because the language, learn other language, can help to communication some other people.
Okay.
And two, learn other language is help you to see the life and the other life people, and you can grow.
Okay. So you mean that you can see life from a different perspective when you know a different language? Is that it, Angela?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. That's true too. That's true. Okay. Saoni, it's your turn now. Tell me, Saoni, what do you think about that phrase?
I teach very important for me in future um, for communication with in other country.
In another country?
Okay. Um, Good work or job. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Angelina, tell me, Angelina, what do you think about that phrase? What's your opinion?
I will teach. Oh my God.
Cada vez que yo hago un ejercicio
Mm,
de esto, escucho mucho esa palabra. Ay, Dios.
Sí, a mí me da mucho miedo y vergüenza hablar el inglés.
Esa es la idea, esa es la idea, que se pierda eso.
Okay. Well, I think uh, the phrase means that every language uh, help us the world in different way. And when you are learning whatever language, you also learn the culture about this country or people. Like, you also learn mm, new words, and you have more opportunity for your job or or dreams that you have. For example, I'm studying in industrial engineering, and I had to learn the English because I need the language. Um, it's uh it's necessary for my career. Um, Also, it's open a door for me and better opportunities. I don't know.
Okay, that was good. That was good. For someone who is shy and doesn't want to speak English, that was a decent amount of words to answer that. So that was good. Well done, Angelina. So let's continue with Camila. Camila, are you there, Camila? We want to hear your opinion about the phrase.
Yes, speaking. Okay. It's important because it you in many ways. You can talk to people from other countries. Um, you can understand some movies and games in English. You can get very opportunities. You can travel more else, else. You can study in other countries. Mm, you can feel more confident about your future.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Camila. Nidia, it's your turn, Nidia. Tell us, Nidia, what do you think? What's your opinion about that phrase?
Okay, teacher. So for me, because each language opens new job opportunities and help you communicate with different people and cultures. Um, give it your a different perspective on work and life.
Okay. It's a good one. Muy bien, chicos, voy a hacer este comentario en español rápidamente porque es importante que capten esto bien. Si se dieron cuenta, todos dijeron algo. Todos dijeron algo. Y todos dijeron cosas similares, diferentes. Cada uno hizo su aporte. Entonces, fíjense cómo uno a veces siente que no puede hacer mucho y es porque uno mismo no se da la oportunidad de intentarlo ni siquiera. Pero usted lo intenta y le sale. Hay algunas cosas que vamos a ir corrigiendo de estructura, pero aquí lo más importante es no es la estructura perfecta, sino la confianza. Así que usted genere esa confianza de usted sentirse más cómodo al momento de hablar. Si logramos hacer eso, y lo podemos hacer, si nos mantenemos constantes con todas las dinámicas orales, se habrá llevado una de las cosas más importantes que puede ofrecer un curso de inglés, que es superar. No que usted se sepa toda la gramática. Eso no, porque los americanos no se saben toda la gramática. No es eso, sino que usted haya superado el miedo de comunicarse, que usted haya superado eso y que sea lo que sea que diga, lo dice como le sale, y eso es algo que tiene muchísimo valor, porque ya lo demás se va arreglando con el tiempo. Pero ese impedimento es lo que tiene a mucha gente pues limitada a explotar esas puertas que se abren cuando uno sabe un idioma. Ok, así que los felicito a todos por haber hecho el intento. Vamos a continuar de aquí en adelante con ánimo y sin miedo, ok. Y de paso, como la asignación del jueves se da de antemano, busque, practique, ordene sus ideas y luego tráigalas aquí y las vamos a escuchar. With that being said, let's continue then, guys. Okay, so our first unit of the second book is Good Memories. So, as the title says, we're going to talk about the past. We're going to talk about actions, when about actions that we did when we were younger, when we were kids, when we were teenagers. Okay, here we have a snapshot of small like biographies of Isabel Austin and Nicholas Rodriguez. We have here hometown, right? Employer, interest, and email. This is the kind of profile that we see on social media. Well, maybe there is a social media that is only for work. I don't. I think it's LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn. But all the other social media platforms, we have to add some kind of information about our personal life, and it's similar to this. Okay, it's similar to this. So we are going to keep practicing with our conversations as usual because this is important. Here we have this conversation. Where did you learn to skateboard? We will read this in our next class on Thursday. So let's see tonight's grammar topic. So talking about the past, right? We're going to review the simple past, a tense that you know, and used to. This is the new tense, okay? You're going to, well, not all of you, but many of you are going to see this for the first time tonight. Okay, so when we're talking about the past, we can talk about a state of being using was or were. We can talk about actions using did or didn't, or we can talk about habits using used to. So, we use the simple past for completed actions or situations in the past. That is the purpose of the simple past. So here we have the structure, which is subject, was, where, the past of the verb to be, and the complement, okay, which is the extra information. We know that we use was for I, he, she, and it, and we use where for you, we, and they. For example, I was born in Argentina, or they were very happy, right? Past states. We have also the negative structure, wasn't and weren't, which are the contraction of was not and were not. For that, we use the subject, wasn't, weren't, plus the complement. I wasn't tired yesterday. They weren't at home. We can also use was and were for questions. Were you born in Buenos Aires? Was she at school? So these are yes or no questions, right? And here we have the short answers. Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Okay, this is not new. We discussed this topic. This is, I think, the third time we discussed this topic. Okay, so we also have past actions with regular and irregular verbs. You know about this because we studied all of these verbs during the whole intermediate English course. Here we have in the left lane regular verbs, and in the right lane we have irregular verbs. Work, worked, play, played, take, took, teach, taught, go, went. Past verbs, right? Pretty easy. For example, we can say I moved in the past here 10 years ago. This is an action in the past. She took English classes. Again, this is an action in the past. Okay, so here we have actions in the past. So we use was and were for past state of being, and we use these other verbs for actions in the past. Okay? A rule that we have to remember always, important alert equation. So remember that when we use didn't in a past tense sentence, we have to keep the verb in its base form. Don't forget that. Let's read the first one. I didn't speak English. She didn't take classes. So as you can see, we're using didn't and the verb is in its base form. That's a simple rule. Again, important. After didn't, the verb returns to the base form. I didn't speak is correct. I didn't spoke is wrong. Right? Is wrong. Because I have didn't and the verb is also in the past tense. Okay, so in English, we don't do this. Let's continue. I'm going fast because this is not a new topic. This is more like a review. Did plus subject plus base verb. We know that when we build a question in the past tense, we have to use the auxiliary did, and for that reason, we will use the base form of the verb. Did you take English classes? Because did is a yes or no question, we use yes, I did, or no, I didn't. Did you move last year? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. That's it. So, with that being said, these are the exercises you're going to use to practice this known knowledge because you know this already. So, this is going to be pretty easy for you. This is the first one. Complete these conversations using the structures we just saw. Here we have number 2. You have to write the past tense. Easy. Of these verbs. Easy. And with the past tense of these verbs, you're going to fill the blank spaces of this exercise. So you have to read this exercise and you are going to put in the blank spaces the verbs that you have here from, the past tense of the verbs that you have right here. Okay? So you have to read this and identify where each of those verbs fit best. Let's continue. Again, we have this other exercise. Complete the questions in this conversation. Here we have to complete the questions. Pretty easy too. Based on the answer, we know what type or what kind of questions they asked. Okay? You know this too. I won't stay here too much. Okay, so we have this speaking exercise. This is about you, okay? So you're going to answer with your own information these questions. Where were you born? Did your family move when you were a child? Did you have a favorite teacher in elementary school? What hobbies did you have when you were a kid? When did you begin to study English? Easy questions. We're going to practice here the past tense. Okay? Here we have this word power. Okay? So, I'm going to show it to you now. I will send it to the WhatsApp group. Many of these terms you already know. If there is one or two you don't know, remember to look it up because they will probably be in your practice in a match exercise. Here we have amusement park, beach cat, collect comic books, fish, play video games, playground, stickers, teddy bear, toy cars, turtle, watch cartoons. Okay, so let's continue with our second grammar focus. So here I'm gonna take my time because this is the new topic, used to. This is a pretty useful structure in English. Okay, used to. So let's dive in. Okay, so true. What is true about this? Well, we use used to for past habits, routines, or situations that were true before, but this is the important part, are no longer true now. Again, we use used to for past habits, routines, or situations that were true before but are no longer true now. That's how we use used to. So the golden rule is think, past, true, now, different. Okay? For example, meaning breakdown. I used to play baseball. What does that mean? Well, I played baseball regularly in the past, but I don't play now. Okay? So that is the meaning of used to. An action that I practiced in the past, but now I don't do it anymore. So in my case, for example, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to play video games. If I say that, it means that today I don't play video games anymore. Okay? I used to. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to fly kites, what we call here chichigua. When I was a teenager, I used to fly a lot of kites. That means that now, today, I don't do that anymore. And I don't. So when you hear used to, or when you use used to, it's because you're saying that something used to happen, but not anymore. You used to do that, but not anymore. Is that clear? Okay, let's continue then. Okay, examples. I used to play baseball. Can you see this? When we use this is always in the past when we are working with an affirmative sentence. Pay attention to that. Only in affirmative sentences. You will see why now. So the structure of used to, right? Let me erase this. Let me erase this. I don't want you to get confused. So used to, this is the structure, right? Used, always in the past, followed by to, which is the preposition. The verb is always in the base form. Always. Okay? She used to collect base form, comic books. We used to live, base form, used in the past, always. Okay? Okay. But when we are using used to in a negative structure, something happens. What happens? Really easy. Because we're using didn't, which is an auxiliary, and the rule is that when I use didn't, the verb must be in its base form. The same thing happens with use. As you can see, there is no D anymore here because the verb is now in the base form because I am using didn't. So I didn't used to drink coffee. To say the opposite, he didn't used to exercise. Si I used to es yo solía, I didn't used to es yo no solía, ¿verdad? Yo no solía tomar café. Si no solía es porque ahora sí lo tomo, ¿verdad? Lo opuesto. Notice, rule. After didn't, we use, not used. Didn't used to, it is wrong to say didn't used to. This is wrong, sorry. This is wrong. Okay? In the case of questions, the same rule applies. Did is here, so use is in its base form again. Did is here, use is in its base form again because did is present. Simple, guys. Simple. Okay, so simple past, one finished action. I played soccer yesterday. Used to, repeated habit or past state. A regular activity in the past. I used to play soccer when I was a child. In the past. Not happening anymore. Okay. Common mistakes and troubleshooting. Okay, common mistakes and troubleshooting. The error, I just mentioned this. I used to play it. This is incorrect because after to, we use the base form of the verb. That's it. Okay? And the same thing here. Don't forget that because this is a common mistakes with beginners. That's it. So, more exercises, but these exercises are with used to. That's our main focus with these exercises. So we have this one, complete these questions and answers using the structure used to. Number one. Number two, here we have to choose the correct word or phrase and fill the blank spaces. Number three, here says, look at the answers, write the questions using used to. So now you look at the answer and you're going to write a question using used to based on the answer. For example, we used to go to the beach. What would be the question? That's easy. What did you used to do in the summer? We used to go to the beach. And the same thing with the others. Okay, another personal exercise. How have you changed in the last 5 years? Write answers to these questions. How have you changed? For example, what hobbies did you used to have 5 years ago? Well, I used to play video games. Now, I like to read books. Simple, easy. What hobbies did you used to have 5 years ago? Well, I used to ride my bike every day. Now, I drive my car. See? Simple, guys. It's not complicated. Here, choose the correct responses. Are you from Toronto? You have two options. You have to choose the right one. And that's it. So, this is our this is our speaking practice that we will do at the end of Thursday's class. Okay? So, the topic is the most interesting day of my life. Okay? So, all of you are going to talk about this. and you have to answer 4 questions. 4 questions about that day. The first one, what happened? Where were you? Who was with you? How did you feel? Okay? So the topic is the most interesting day of my life. You can choose whichever day or experience you want. Okay? The idea here is that when you are telling us that day, that experience, that you answer all of these questions in your story. Well, not storytelling, but yes, I can say we can say that in your storytelling because you are telling us a story, right? Okay, so you have to use all of these questions. What happened? Where were you? Who were you with? And how did you feel when that happened? Easy. So there you have the questions. There you have the topic. The only thing you have to do is tomorrow or on Thursday, you can write down your response and then you're going to share it with us. Remember, I'm going to pick only the first one. After that, the students are going to pick with each other. You're going to select the other students. You are the one responsible of that. And that's it. Any questions? Any doubts? Is everything clear? It was short. Okay, so if everything is clear, I will upload this class in a moment and I will send now all the pictures with all the exercises and we will see each other again next Thursday at 8 p.m. Goodbye. Good night, guys.
Good night, teacher.
Bye bye.
Hi, everyone. Good night, teacher.
Bye.